Luna and Nate are professional chefs who run the vegan food blog, Cooking Up Vegan. Combined, Luna and Nate have spent over 15 years as professional chefs, and they are excited to demo a couple of their recipes for us tonight. Whether you're interested in plant-based eating for the animals, the planet, your health, or for everything, cookingupvegan.com has tons of easy, unique, and delicious recipes that are great for everyone. And tonight, Luna and Nate will be demoing their vegan lox and their vegan deviled eggs. Two recipes that look so good. I'm so excited to see how they make them. Thank you so much, Luna and Nate, for the demo you were about to give us. And I'll turn it over to you guys. Please take it away.
Thank you so much, Olivia. All right, so today, thank you everyone for being here. We wanted to really focus our demo on more of an Easter, springtime type vibe. So we've got a classic deviled egg recipe, but it's vegan. And we're really excited to show you how we're going to make this creation. And then Nate's going to go ahead and also show how to do vegan lox, super classic Sunday brunch, also perfect for Easter. So we'll go ahead and start with the lox then.
All right, thank you all so much for being here today. Grateful you all showed up. So I'm going to be demonstrating first how to make our vegan lox recipe, which is on our website, cookingupvegan.com. We're going to be using these carrots here and turn them into a salmon lox. All right, so we're going to start basically with regular. We have some organic regular carrots here. They're about medium size. You can use any size you want, but we're going to start. You either want to wash them thoroughly or peel them. I like to just peel them just because I don't have to worry about washing them too thoroughly. I know the skin's coming off, but so you just start by peeling all the carrots here. And what we're going to do with these carrots is we're going to bake them in the oven. So when we bake them in the oven, we're also going to be wrapping them in nori sheets. So nori is the seaweed that you typically find on the outside of sushi rolls. And that gives it that kind of seafood, fish, salmon flavor as it's baking.
And so the reason why we went ahead and we chose carrots as our mock salmon is because when they cook, they have pretty much a neutral but slightly sweet flavor. I'm sure you all have tried cooked carrots before. And when you marinate them, you can really jazz them up and make them as like a fish alternative. So this is perfect for people who have fish and seafood allergies. And it's also really versatile and super similar in texture. So our whole point is to use whole foods and make them as close to these traditional dishes that we all grew up eating and enjoying.
All right, so I got my carrots peeled here. And I got some nori sheets here. So you might not need a full nori sheet. It depends on how big your carrots are. You have some cut in half here, some that are whole.
So this is the nori. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. It does have a flat side and then it does have a more textured side. All right, this is what you typically find on your sushi rolls. And this is what we use to give the carrots, to marinate the carrots with more of an ocean-like flavor.
So as Luna was mentioning, there is a kind of a more textured side that you can see. And then there's a more glossy side that you see when you buy this nori. So this more glossy side that you see, this is the side that you're going to want to put the carrot inside when you roll it. This will help the nori to come off of the carrot super easily after it's baked. If you do it the other way, you're going to come into some issues with the nori sticking to the carrots, which is, it's not the end of the world. I mean, you'll get a little bit extra of that seafood, the sea flavor, the ocean flavor from the nori.
But it also keeps the carrots looking orange and more like salmon instead of with globs of seaweed on it. All right.
All right, so I have just a bowl of water right over here. So this is just a bowl of water that I have, and this is gonna help seal it. So I'm gonna put the carrot into the nori here. I'm gonna dip my fingers into the water and I'm gonna place them along the edge of the nori. Just where it's gonna seal the roll here. You're gonna hold it tight around the carrot.
For those of you that couldn't see, he went ahead and dipped his fingers and then dragged his fingers along the top and the bottom of the nori. And that's gonna be essentially like a glue that makes the nori stick onto the carrot without having to use any crazy weird ingredients, toothpicks, rubber bands, twine, things like that.
And if you need a little bit more, you can just touch it up, but here you have it. It's the carrot rolled up in the nori. So yeah, we definitely wanted to showcase this recipe. We really love this recipe. We made this recipe, actually, we came up with this when we were working as chefs at a restaurant, Thatch, in Miami. And we're proud to say that it was actually featured in Veg News. So it was a very popular dish down there. We served it on fresh bagels with all the fixing, which we're going to show you today here at the end, what it all looks like.
And this technique of using the water to actually seal the carrot, to seal the nori, actually comes from sushi. So when you're making sushi rolls, you can always use water to also seal up your roll, or you can use a piece of lemon and just use the lemon juice, the lemon wedge, and wipe it across the front and the bottom to seal it. And so typically for this recipe, we like to use about 6 or 7 carrots. By all means, we always feel like we don't have enough because it's so good. So when we make this, we tend to start making it in larger batches, which is really nice because then you can have it for breakfast the next day or lunch and sandwiches like that. We like to make our recipes more versatile. So you can use it for lox, but you can also use it for sandwiches. Maybe you can put it on top of crackers, things like that.
All right, so these are gonna go into the oven here in just a second. The oven's gonna be set to 375. All right, so I'm gonna go pop them in our oven here. And then for time purposes, obviously we had to show you the later result. They do take about an hour and a half, an hour to an hour and a half to cook in the oven. So they're slow roasted. We have a plate of them here that are already cooked. So this is what they look like when they're cooked. Pretty similar. They just shrivel up a little bit. You'll be able to tell that they're ready when they're tender on the inside.
They're really soft too and malleable, the carrots.
All right, and so after they come out of the oven, this is the part where I was mentioning you peel the nori off, and you can see just how easily this comes off here. So I'm gonna peel these off here.
And then what we typically like to do with this excess nori is it's a really good source of iodine and a lot of also deep sea minerals. So I really like to use this and put it into my salads. We don't really like to throw away good ingredients. So we try to utilize everything that we can. Here we go. And if your carrot kind of falls apart or looks a little funny, don't worry about it because we're gonna cut it up and make it look really nice in just a moment here.
All right. So I have another bowl. I'm take this other bowl to put these carrots in. So you're gonna wanna cut the ends off the carrots, if you didn't cut them off before you cooked them. So just cut all these little ends off here. Put those in the compost pile. And then basically it's just a really rough chop on these. We've also done it where you can even just pull it apart with your fingers and into chunks. But you can also just roughly chop them however you like. If you want to do thinner slices and try to slice these carrots more thin and long to give them more of that salmon texture, that's really nice as well.
And so just as a fun fact, smoked salmon and lox salmon are actually very different. So the smoked salmon is what you think, it's smoked fish, and both are typically traditionally preserved with salt. The cool thing about the lox salmon is traditionally how it's made is with a brine. And so we like to mimic that with our vegan recipe by making a marinade with similar ingredients to give it that marinated and juicy flavor that the carrots do absorb, which is really nice and forgiving of vegetables, right? Because when you're vegan, you just want things to taste a certain way. And a lot of vegetables are just so forgiving and just also malleable with their flavor, which is really fun for us as chefs.
All right, so here we have our carrots here in the bowl. We got them all chopped up a little bit finer. And then we went ahead and made this marinade for them. So this is a little bit of neutral flavored oil. Here we have canola oil. You could use olive oil, you could use grapeseed oil, whatever you want, but this gives it a little bit of fattiness to the carrots. I mean, these carrots have no fat and we're trying to mimic the flavor of salmon, so we got to give it some fat here. We also put a little liquid aminos in there. We like to use coconut aminos with a little less sodium. You could also just use regular soy sauce or Bragg's or tamari or whatever you personally like to use or have on hand, but you need that saltiness that you traditionally get with the lox. We do add a little bit of liquid smoke to this recipe. Now I know Luna was just saying the traditional lox don't call for, you know, smoking, but we like the flavor that it gives. You can choose to add it or not. It's up to you. But basically we just pour this into here. Would you mind handing me a small spoon, please?
Yeah.
So after we got it poured into here, we're gonna mix it up. All right, so you can either leave this in a bowl, but what sometimes we like to do for a little bit of extra flavor is we'll take these bags, like a larger gallon Ziploc bag, and we'll place the carrot lox in there. Okay, and then we can really get a good seal on this. So in a lot of restaurants, we use vacuum seals to help really incorporate flavor into foods and marinate them. You can actually do this pretty well at home, we discovered. So by taking these bags, letting all the air out of it, and you can even suction the air out of it yourself from the corner before you seal it. And then it gets a little bit more airtight here, so it can these carrots can marinate. So I'm just gonna place these in the fridge. All right, and we can let those marinate. We can use them immediately. You could use it right away if you wanted to. However, the longer it sits, the better it gets. And so
We've
or
let
we
it
like to
sit
do it
for 4
overnight.
days before and they came out really good.
Yeah, we've let it sit
So-
for days. They were a little salty after 4 days, I must say, but it's still good nonetheless. But we have some that we marinated here earlier today. So we got these already marinated. And I'm just gonna get these cleaned up here a bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make some of these finished carrot lox products.
So while he's doing that, so traditionally, we all know lox go on a bagel, right? So we've got our bagel. We've also got some fresh dill here. As you can see, we've got some capers. We've also got some really nice vegan cream cheese and some red onion. Highly recommend using fresh herbs whenever you can, if it's a savory dish, because it just adds such a deeper depth of flavor and freshness to it. Okay.
All right, so slice this bagel up here. Okay. And we like the Nyokos brand cream cheese, not sponsored or anything, but we just think that this brand is a good brand for this. We chose the savory scallion because we think it goes well with all the flavor combinations that we have going on with the lox. They make regular as well.
Also, if you prefer to use something a little bit less processed, you can always just do a traditional cashew cream. You just take some cashews that have been soaked, you put them in the blender with some water, a little bit of salt, a little bit of lemon juice, and just blend it up, and you have a really nice cream that you can use as a topping for your bagel.
Right, so we got these here. Okay. Could I get a spoon actually?
Yeah.
Can I get a little bit of this lox on there? Would you put that on there for me? All right.
So as you can see, he just put on all of the cream cheese. And then we like to layer it this way. We're gonna go ahead and add the lox on top.
While she's doing that, I'm just gonna cut up this red onion really quick.
And so for this recipe, we like to julienne the onions. Do you want to go ahead and explain about julienne?
So julienne is just very thin cut. We don't like a lot of red onion overpowering this dish, but we just like a little bit for a little bit of texture and just a little bit of that snap. So we just cut a little chunk out of this onion and then just sliced it up really thin into these shaved little pieces.
So you can see how thin, you can almost not, it almost disappears. But you can see how thin the pieces are. All right, and so I went ahead and added the lox on top. You can see how nice that looks, and it really does start to resemble salmon. Okay. And you can add as much carrot as you'd like to it. It's really up to you, personal preference.
All right, and then after the carrot, we like to put a little bit of these red onions here. As I mentioned, just a few for that little crunch and flavor.
And because we are chefs and we do like the artistic aspect of cooking, we always try to make our food look nice, and it's always fun, you know, after all the labor that you put into making your food, you make it look really pretty. So we just like to fan it out on top. So you can really see that contrast of colors with the orange and the purple and the light white.
We also got some fresh dill here, so We're gonna put a little bit of this dill here on the top. We just like to take a little, about the size of a fingernail maybe. Or a little bit bigger, maybe a fingertip. And just sprinkle it in different parts.
And I know it's a little difficult to see, but I'll go up and bring these closer to the camera in just a minute here so everyone can see how pretty these look. And then next, we also really love to add capers.
Got some fresh capers here.
That was one of my favorite things with salmon, enjoying them with some capers.
Gives it more of that brininess too.
Mm-hmm.
And just always a classic combination with salmon, so you really get those flavors you miss. Hey, let me get your plate here, Luna, so you can
Perfect.
show it to them.
Or you can show it to your label.
All right, I'll grab it.
All right.
All right. So here we have the finished product. Doesn't that look delicious?
It's really good, and even though it is made with vegetables, it's still very filling and so satisfying. It's really got a lot of it just hits those notes that you want on a Sunday morning, you know, for brunch.
There's the lox, and we're gonna set these aside and definitely enjoy eating those in a little bit. So next we're gonna have Luna start here on the deviled eggs, which is a really exciting recipe that she created. It's one of our most viral.
Well, it is our most viral.
Our most viral recipe, top clicks for our website, because it's really just a really cool recipe, and it'll blow people's minds if you make this at home. They're gonna trip out saying, I can't believe this is like a vegan deviled egg right now. So we're gonna show you how to impress your friends and family, maybe even impress yourself with how much you can make vegan ingredients that aren't even anything close to an egg taste like a deviled egg.
Mindful, also not really processed. Like, this is a lot of whole food ingredients, and so we had a lot of fun making this recipe. So just to start this recipe, I'm not going to say it's more technical, but it does involve a couple extra tools. So you are going to need a pot. We have an induction burner here, and then you're going to need a blender. For the eggs, we have a plastic mold that we used here. It's actually the most like a real egg shape, size, and volume of filling. If you can find a silicone egg mold online, that would definitely be preferred. Silicone is much more versatile of a tool. You can use it for chocolates as well, but we'll go ahead and get started here. So our two secret ingredients in making these vegan deviled eggs is agar-agar and kala namak salt. So you're probably wondering, well, what the heck is that? Agar-agar is actually a natural gelatinous ingredient. It's derived from red seaweed, and it's actually really popular in Japan and in Asia. And so, interestingly enough, there's actually a diet around this ingredient, agar. In Japan, it's called Canton, and it's called the Canton diet. And basically, the ideology is more about you can eat it, it's gelatinous, it's filling, it helps you lose weight by not being hungry. By no means are we dietitians, but we just thought it was super cool. And so this gelifying ingredient, agar-agar, you can find it at your local health food store. But if you're going the more economic route, like we like to do, go to your local Asian market. You'll find it in many different forms and varieties. We were surprised to find, but go for the powder. So you're typically going to find a flake an agar flake, and an agar powder. We did do experiments with the flakes, and the flakes don't work as effectively as the powder. They just don't dissolve as easily, and they make for a more not so homogeneous texture. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started here. The secret to the agar is heat. And so heat is what activates the gelifying ingredient. So to start, we have what we like to use as cashew milk to make the egg white, right? Cashew milk, I'm sure most of you have tried it by now. It's really white, it's opaque, it's a really nice color. And so that's the main reason why we decided to use it. Also, it's got a little bit of a thicker texture compared to coconut milk. And so that was another reason why we went for the cashew.
And it can blend, we felt like it can blend a little bit more with savory flavors than some other plant milks like coconut milk or like even almond. So we found that this milk, this cashew milk works best. And we usually make our own cashew milk at home too. We have recipes on the website for that, which is super simple.
For the agar powder, I do want to recommend, I just turned this on, so the liquid is not hot yet, but definitely pour your agar and a little bit of salt into your liquid before it gets hot. That way, that way you can mix it around without it gelifying as soon as you put it in, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and mix this up. We have about a cup of milk here, and then we have a teaspoon of agar powder. And this measurement is specific to our mold, so we can fill up our mold. If you're using a different type of mold, you may need more or less liquid, depending on how thick and how deep your eggs are. I'm not sure if I can show you about how deep it is, but.
So this is the egg mold we got. I think we got it online on Amazon, right? So it's about maybe an inch or so deep.
And so after you mix it, you want to go ahead and let it sit and let it come to a rapid boil. Don't worry, you're not going to burn the agar by any means. All you're going to do is really activate it. So it's starting to boil here. I'm just going to let it boil for a couple of seconds. Really let that agar activate. And so on our recipe, if you can't find the powder and you just have the flakes, we do have a ratio there that you can utilize in replacement of the powder. All right, so this is boiled. We're gonna turn that off. Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up to the camera a little bit. So as you can see, it should have a little bit of bubbles, and it is a bit thicker now since it is a thickening agent. It's a little hard to tell from this angle, but trust, you'll see when you make it at home. All right, and so straight from here, we're gonna go ahead and put it on these egg molds. All right. And what's really cool is we learned that actually in Asia, they use this ingredient a lot for desserts. And so what you do is you heat up the agar and then you put it in the fridge. And so by doing some research, that's how we realized we were going to go ahead and get our eggs solid. So we're going to go ahead and just pour. It's just cashew milk, salt, and the agar powder into the egg molds. Okay.
So really the base that she's making here, this is more of the it's more of the texture of the boiled egg. You're not necessarily getting as much eggy flavor in this. That'll come from the filling, which has that special black colonna mock salt, which if you never used before, it's a great product.
Yes, and we'll go into that in just a moment. So here we go. We're almost done here. And then for sake of time, typically it does take about 10 to 20 minutes for the eggs to solidify. We already have them pre-done for you all today. So here we go. If you want to go ahead and put that in the fridge. Thank you. All right. And so next, while those are technically hardening up, we'll go ahead and make our egg yolk filling. So just like in your original deviled egg recipe, we're still going to use the main ingredients. So as our binder though, since we're not using real egg yolks, we're going to use some tofu. We found that using some firm tofu provides the best consistency, most similar to an egg yolk when blended. So I'm just going to go ahead and add these in here. All right. And then next we have our special ingredients that's really going to add to the depth of flavor we're looking for. So in addition to the tofu, we've got some vegan mayo. We really like to use Follow Your Heart. We've also got some neutral oil. Nate talked about this earlier. We like to use grapeseed oil. You can also use avocado oil or canola oil if that's your thing.
Yes, this is the same thing with with the yolks. You really need all this fat in there to give it that rich yolkiness.
We also put in some Dijon because that's just a classic ingredient we need to have with deviled eggs, right? And then we have our powders here and our spices. So our secret ingredient to really make this taste like an egg is that Kala Namak salt. So Kala Namak salt is a pink black salt. You can actually find it at Walmart or you can get it online. It comes from the Himalayas, at the base of the Himalayan mountains, and it's like a pink black salt. And what's special about it is it has a high sulfuric content. So it makes it kind of like that eggy smell and flavor. We do have regular salt that we added to this recipe because we found that even though Kala Namak is technically a salt, the more you put in, the more eggier it tastes. And so we kind of wanted to have a control on that. So we use the Kala Namak for flavor and then salt for that saltiness, that you need in every dish. In addition to the Kala Namak, we also use turmeric. So turmeric is going to be our other secret ingredient that we use to turn this into an egg yolk color, right? Without using any weird, funky, artificial,
food dyes or anything
right?
like
Any
that.
type of artificial food dyes. We also have apple cider vinegar that we added in here, which adds like a balance with the acidity. As well, a little bit of paprika, black pepper.
And we also have, so we have a little bit of cashew milk here. We're just gonna add just a touch of that to start. So this is only gonna be added as needed. It's really just a blend since we have no liquid in this. Really just to get the start the motor up here. We like to use this smaller blender. Now just be aware that if you do decide that you want to go ahead and make this recipe, it does require a small blender like a Ninja or a NutriBullet.
Just because of the quantity, since you're doing a smaller quantity, if you use a bigger blender, it's not going to blend as smooth.
But if you made a double batch, you could probably do it in a regular blender. But like we said, smaller blenders work best if you got one.
So we're just going to go ahead and blend this for a moment. And so sometimes if it's not moving enough, you can always add a little bit extra. You can always add a little bit extra liquid, but you can start to see it a little bit. You see how it's starting to become more paste-like. It definitely smells like eggs, that's for sure. And the cool thing about the turmeric is that the longer the turmeric stays in the mixture, the more yellow it'll become. So don't feel like you need to add a bunch of turmeric into here if it's not turning yellow right away. Right.
Perfect.
Okay.
Take it up a little bit.
So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this to the camera so everyone can see the consistency. So it's still firm. It's firm enough that it's just sticking onto the blades here. It's not runny. It's really nice. Okay.
So we're gonna put this one in the fridge here. Usually we put it into a piping bag.
Here, I'll show you.
We have a piping bag already down here.
I'm gonna show you. So because we're professional chefs, we do have a little bit extra tools. We have this piping bag that we use. But if you don't have a piping bag, I'm going to show you how to make one right now. So all you need is a Ziploc bag, all right, and a spoon. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to take the spoon, take your egg yolk mixture, and you're gonna add it right inside the bag like this, okay? So I'm just adding the rest in here. So you're gonna go ahead, close up your Ziploc bag. And then you're gonna use scissors and you're gonna cut the very tip of your Ziploc bag here so that you essentially have a hole, all right? Here, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the amazing magical egg whites. So these have been sitting in the fridge for about 10-15 minutes. They've already been pulled from the molds. I'll go ahead and show you. And this is what they look like, guys. Like, they look like eggs. It's literally cashew milk, a little bit of salt, and the agar. All right. Okay. So just like for regular deviled eggs, you're going to want to go ahead and make a little hole in the center, right? So you can just take a spoon, you can cut it out in the middle. If it's not super pretty, don't worry, no one's going to care. It's going to taste just as great.
We've done it too, where you don't even really scoop them, so you don't have to scoop them if you don't want to.
I like to.
But Luna likes to. It gives it that little extra touch of more of a classic deviled egg. So
I think it looks prettier and it gives the yolk a little home so it can stay in there. All right, but we'll show you guys both ways. So here I've just went ahead and made a little hole in the egg, if you can see it. And then we're gonna go ahead and take our filling. It's in our piping bag here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and add it inside. And oh my goodness, they look so cute. All right. And then Nate will take this up to show you all what it looks like.
we always like to top them with a little smoked paprika.
Show them first. Here. So we consider this stage one. We've got our eggs here with the filling. They look so cute and so much like the real eggs. There you go.
Sprinkle just a touch of paprika over top of them. Okay, and then we got our fresh dill here that we just were using earlier. So we're gonna go ahead and pick a little bit of that, just a little bit for like a little garnish on top of that yolk, makes them really pop. It gives it a nice pretty contrast.
We love using fresh herbs whenever we can. I know we talked about this before, but it's a serious thing. Everything deserves fresh herbs. Okay. That's a lot. That's okay. All right.
All right, so check that out. Vegan deviled eggs, no eggs.
And
All right, so
just to let you know, another great thing, you're gonna have extra egg yolk filling. What I like to do is I like to use this as my spread for the salmon lox. So like I said, we like to utilize everything, nothing goes to waste. We use this for sandwiches, we use this just spread on toast. I really love it with the lox though. So these two recipes go together perfectly.
Let's give these a try.
Okay. All right, let's try one. Okay, ready?
Cheers. Mm,
They're good.
that's amazing.
They're good.
It tastes exactly like a deviled egg.
They're good. And so that's what we have for you guys today.
All right, so those are our demonstrations. We're now gonna hand it back and I think opening up for questions soon.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. Those look so good. There are lots of really positive comments in the chat saying how pretty everything looks.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited to make, especially the deviled eggs myself. I was telling my husband that you guys were demoing this recipe, and both of us used to love deviled eggs before we're vegan. So I'm really excited to try the vegan version. Really pumped about it. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
I like it too, and it's not crazy weird ingredients. I mean, the agar is different, I would say, but
Yeah.
still, but it's from seaweed. I mean, it's not like it's lab made or anything. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and you did a great job explaining it. So now I feel confident going into the kitchen and trying it myself.
yes.
All right. Okay. So we do have some questions so far, just lots and lots of really positive comments. People are super excited to try these recipes. First thing I did see someone ask, are these recipes on the website? So just again, for anyone who joined us a little bit later, both of these recipes are from Luna and Nate's vegan blog called cookingupvegan.com. So both of these recipes are on their website, and I just shared the recipes in the chat for you all to check them out. And there are just so many more, even gorgeous photos on their blogs of these recipes, and lots more interesting facts about the ingredients and the recipes, etc.
Yeah, we go through an analysis of the ingredients as well. If anybody wanted to look up on that, go through, kalanamak, what agar is, how to use it, using the agar powder versus the flakes, the technique of doing the nori, it's all there. So don't feel like you need to take notes or you miss anything.
We have descriptions. We have pictures of steps on our recipes. So you can see, is the step looking correct, and match it up. And then we also, answer any comments on our blog. We're very open to any messages or anything you have. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, their blog is great. They're very thorough in the recipes and provide interesting information as well, in addition to, just kind of basic recipes. So definitely check those out. Now I think we can get to the questions. We just have a couple so far. So if anyone else has questions, please feel free to add them to the chat right now. I know Luna and Nate did such an excellent job. They were very thorough with the demo, so maybe you don't have them, but they're also professional chefs, as they said. So if you have any other questions, potentially just about vegan cooking in general, I'm sure they have lots of great tips to share. But we do have a couple so far. So Luna, you mentioned that you sometimes use the cooked nori, like the leftover nori, in salads. I was wondering, how exactly do you use that in a salad? How would you prepare it? Do you have other ingredients that you recommend to go along with it if you were to use it in that way so it doesn't go to waste?
Yeah, so we like to cook a lot of whole food type style things, and if I can add extra ingredients and extra nutrients, I'm going to. Nate will attest, I'll put anything in my salads. So you can take the regular raw nori and I'll just crumble it up. You can just have fun with it in your hands, crumble it on top of whatever salad. Honestly, it's not a really big crazy flavor, but it just adds additional nutrient. And like I said before, we don't like to let food go to waste. So even though this is cooked, I'll do the same thing. I'll add it into my salads. And you can even play off the palette that we have here, where you can add your capers, you can add the seaweed, you can add the lox if you want, you can add the red onion into your salad, maybe with a little bit of avocado. Just have fun with it and experiment,
So what I was gonna say too is a lot of times we'll just chop it up like this and use just little strips.
It's hard to see.
I'll
show them.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Then, sometimes too, what we like to do is we'll just take the nori and we'll blend it into a dressing. Sometimes
Yeah.
we make a Caesar dressing and we'll put a little nori in there. And it gives it that kind of anchovy like feel. So, that's another great way we like to repurpose this nori. But yes,
Yeah,
those are the
that
two
was a
main
great
ways,
question,
two
though.
main ways we
Yeah.
repurpose it in salad or salad dressing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very nice. That's a great idea to make a salad kind of playing off the same flavor notes as the lox bagel. That sounds great.
For sure.
All right. The next question, someone was wondering if you press the tofu before you use it for the egg filling, and also what firmness of tofu do you use? Is there like a special kind? What do you prefer?
That's a great question, because there are tons of different kinds of tofu.
Yeah.
It is in the recipe notes, but we did use firm tofu. And no, we did not press it at all.
No.
Not for this recipe, simply because it's not necessarily, the little bit of extra water, if anything, will actually help blend this. Because you are trying to get that smooth egg yolk consistency. Now, we don't recommend, soft or extra firm. Extra firm, you might end up having to add more liquid.
Right. Yeah.
Which I'm sure you could use, but soft, it won't work because it'll never firm up to that consistency that you want of the traditional egg yolk filling.
You want it to hold on its own, like I showed earlier on
Right.
the
I mean, as you can see,
still
these are
good.
still sitting up here in the pretty, shapes that we piped them on. So you want that really hold up.
Absolutely. Very nice. All right. Okay, if anyone else has any more questions, I'm not seeing them. There's lots of positive comments. So many people are saying like these are two of the foods that they've been missing the most since they've been going vegan, and they're just so excited to try them. So that's so great.
I do have to say that the agar is super fun, especially if you have kids. It's a really easy, it's mostly a mess-free type of project that you can use with kids to get them involved and more interested in their food, especially if they have a hard time, eating this way. And so it's just cool because it's like magic, right? It's you have it in a liquid and then all of a sudden, it's.
And they're very sensory, these eggs.
Yeah,
they
are.
really feel like that hard-boiled egg feel,
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so excited to try it. Are there other recipes that you guys like to make that use agar? Anything on your website or just in general that you enjoy making with the product?
Yeah, we do have one that we really love to do. It's not on the website yet, because there's some imperfections in it where we're working on, but we've been working on a haupia recipe, which is like a Hawaiian coconut pudding dish. If you guys followed us, we lived in Hawaii for a couple years, and there's a classic dish with coconut milk and cornstarch that's becomes like a pudding, and it's like a coconut milk pudding. And what we ended up doing was taking dragon fruit and passion fruit and pureeing them with the agar and heating it up to make like a jelly on top of the haupia. So it's kind of a layered dessert with coconut milk, dragon fruit puree, and the passion fruit puree. So that will be coming eventually, but that's desserts. It's really great for desserts, for that jello kind of jelly.
Okay. Can you spell the name of that dish you were mentioning? I've never heard of it before. Do you know?
Yeah, it's a Hawaiian dish. It's Haupia. Haupia. It's a coconut based dish.
We have a recipe, right, for the regular haupia. Yes,
I think so.
but we
have many recipes on there. But that still goes to say, experiment, have fun. If there's a fruit juice you like, maybe take some mango fruit juice, put a little bit of agar in it, put like a teaspoon to a cup, let it sit there, and then you have like a little jelly mango bar you can enjoy. feel free to experiment, and if you do, let us know, put it in the comments on our section on the blog.
Yeah, that's a
Yep.
great idea. I know, like some of those kind of like gummy jelly, like little candies or things, even if it's just fruit sweetened, are so good. Ooh, that looks
Here's
delicious.
the recipe for the halpia on our website. So
Oh,
yeah, check it out. And
definitely awesome. Yeah, great ideas. I've got to get myself some agar and start experimenting.
Yeah, it's super fun. If you're bored and you don't know what to do, just be like, all right, what can I make some type of jellified food with that's gonna taste good? I would definitely
Absolutely.
go with fruit. Do something with fruit and the agar. But
so a little funny story before we finish. I just gotta finish with a little joke here about agar. If you want to prank somebody, it's a good, well, that's not great, but it's a pretty good prank. I had a friend that we were working in a restaurant as a chef, and I had a friend that took a box and put another person's kitchen utensils in there, and he poured agar over it, and then he came back and he put it on his workstation, and when my buddy came into work, all his kitchen equipment was jellified on the station. Which it's not that bad because you rinse it off with hot water, it crumbles right off and dissolves, but it's still pretty funny.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Isn't that like similar to some opening sequence of an Office episode where
yeah, it was the Jello and
Yeah.
the
something's
staples.
put in Jello? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if everybody was in the office. But yeah.
Very
that's
nice.
agar
Very
actually
fun.
gelatin, but it's plant-based.
Yeah.
So you can-
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know it's such a bummer when something looks good and then it just has that one ingredient of gelatin in it and you're like, I can't eat it. So perfect. Okay, very last question I have for you guys, just if there's any other like 1 or 2 recipes from your website that you're like, these are amazing, if people are interested in trying the ones you just demoed, if they should check out these other recipes, do you have anything else that you're like, these are amazing recipes, you got to check these out as well?
I mean, we're biased because all of our recipes, we feel like one thing I want to mention that I feel like doesn't get enough credit on our website is my homemade vegan pepperoni.
It's amazing.
It's
Ooh.
out of this world. It's sound, when you hear homemade pepperoni, you think, oh my gosh, that sounds like a nightmare, Nate. What are you talking? But I promise you, if you get the one ingredient, vital wheat gluten, everything else is super simple.
Yeah.
It's very straightforward and it's absolutely delicious. It slices up like real pepperoni. It cooks on pizza like real pepperoni. Yeah. When we first made it, we thought of Lunchables. It brought us back to our childhood.
Yeah.
But
way healthier, right?
Yeah, way healthier. So that's one recipe I think is underrated on our website.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, I just looked this up on their website. It looks incredible. I have not eaten meat since, gosh, I'd say before 6th grade. So it's been a long time for me. So I don't remember what pepperoni is even supposed to look like, but this looks fantastic. I'm sharing the link in the chat for you all. Even just look at the photos of this pepperoni, like I don't know even what you call the marbling, I guess, of it. It looks fantastic, very flavorful.
Don't use anything weird.
That's
it's all
beet juice.
That's
to
beet
give the
juice.
marbling
You guys already
color.
know. Yes. And then the second
Love
recipe, super easy. It's the vegan crab cakes. So
Yes.
again, I don't know, maybe we've got a seafood thing kind of going that we've been missing, but we love the vegan crab cakes. We use heart of palm. We go ahead, you can store them. We love them for meal prep too.
Yeah,
It's really easy. It's just a couple ingredients.
that one's nice. It
Yeah.
really a lot of mostly whole food ingredients.
Mhm.
Heart of palm is the star, and it turns into these delicious vegan crab cakes.
Yeah.
Definitely another one of our
Excellent.
recipes. It was one of our first recipes,
Yeah.
but we make it. It's one of our most recipes we make.
We
to
make
this
personally,
day.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, I found that as well, everyone, and that link is also in the chat now. So take a look at those. Also, it looks gorgeous. I need to make more of your guys' recipes. These all look so good. All right. And yeah, just feel free to, explore their website as well. They have lots of great stuff in there. And, as I said before, it's not just the basic recipe. They're all very thorough and very informative, give you some nice little tidbits of interesting information additionally as well.